And it's not just ChatGPT. It's like I've been playing around with Midjourney, and it almost seems like magic to me. Like when I talk to ChatGPT, the way I think about this is, it's as if I've talking to the smartest person I've ever talked to in my life. I've been playing around with Midjourney. I'll give it prompts, and it comes up with such fascinating images. So to me, it just seems like magic. Like this is magic. Like I don't think I have been this excited about any new technology. Like I remember, like the only time I was this fascinated by a technology is when I first discovered the internet. It's like, whoa, I could just like log into and like get access to anything under the earth. So I really like the magic part, but I want to understand like the trick behind the magic. So can you like play the magician who spoils this trick for me? Like, can you give me a look under the hood? What my goal from this is, like in our conversation, I want to really understand how this technology works. And I know like,
Hey, welcome to the Art and Science of AI. You're listening to Season 1, which we recorded in May 2023 as a continuous 3-hour long conversation. Season 2 is now live, so if you're enjoying this discussion, please subscribe for new episodes every week.
welcome, Nikhil. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, I'm so happy that we're doing this.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So recently, I've just been so fascinated with all of the developments that's been happening around AI. You and I have talked about it a lot. I mean, for also those of us listening, that you and I are good friends. Like we're the best of friends. We're childhood friends. We have known each other for the longest time. I feel like we have amazing conversations. So I invited you because you know this technology pretty well. And the main goal is I just want to understand how it all works. And the simple idea is I've been playing around with ChatGPT like almost everyone is around me, like this technology which is sort of blown up around us. And it's not just ChatGPT. It's like I've been playing around with Midjourney, and it almost seems like magic to me. Like when I talk to ChatGPT, the way I think about this is, it's as if I've talking to the smartest person I've ever talked to in my life. Like ChatGPT knows everything about everything, and it's about to give me advice in a lot of things. Like for example, this is probably not a good place to be seeking such advice, but I was like, oh, my baby girl has turned 6 months old. I want to start feeding her solid food soon. Can you help me think through like what are some considerations? Like the idea is I do a lot of these things. Like, can you help me think through? And it'll like come up with really good answers and it'll get me started.
Yeah.
I've been playing around with Midjourney. I'll give it prompts and it comes up with such fascinating images. So to me, it just seems like magic. Like this is magic. Like I don't think I have been this excited about any new technology. Like I remember, like the only time I was this fascinated by a technology is when I first discovered the internet. It's like, whoa, I could just like log into and like get access to anything under the earth. So I really like the magic part, but I want to understand like the trick behind the magic. So can you like play the magician who spoils this trick for me? Like, can you give me a look under the hood? What my goal from this is, like in our conversation, I want to really understand how this technology works. And I know like it might be hard to do it in a conversation, but like even if I can understand like at a fundamental level, like what empowers all of these technologies, that'll be like a good win for me out of this conversation. Like that'll be good.
Yeah. So I think what I was hoping to cover is ChatGPT is super exciting right now. There's a lot of possibility with ChatGPT and language model powered applications. But maybe we can take a step back and think about some of the fundamental building blocks of AI and machine learning. And that's something I can help with. And we can go deep into how does machine learning work? What are models? How are they trained? And then probably we won't be able to get into how was ChatGPT trained. Maybe at a high level we can look at that, but we can build up some of the foundation of what models are, how they're trained, and build some intuition behind how a system like ChatGPT works.
That's amazing. That's actually the perfect reason why you're here, is because I don't even know what I don't know. So like I want to learn how ChatGPT works, but all of the things that you describe, models, how they're training, like I want to understand the basics of like what is a model even? Like what does it mean to train a model?
Yeah.
Right? And because I don't know what I don't know what are the things that I need to know. So you actually, I think, put it right. I want to understand the fundamental building blocks of this technology that ultimately powers something like ChatGPT. And maybe if I understand the fundamentals, I'll be able to appreciate this technology and also see like what are the other possibilities with this technology? What are some of its limitations? So yeah, like without much further ado, like why don't you take it away and help me understand like the building blocks of eventually what leads up to something like a chat GPT.
Yeah, sure. So I think I prepared like a couple of topics that I want to cover, and let's keep it interactive. Like whenever we go through a topic, keep asking me questions about it. I'll
Yeah.
maybe give a brief introduction to what this topic is, and you can keep asking me questions, and we'll have an interactive back and forth. But what I was planning to cover is basically what is artificial intelligence?
Yeah.
What is machine learning, which is a specific subset of artificial intelligence? And then another subset of that is deep learning and neural networks, and we'll cover those in some detail. And then look at some applications of those, which is language models is
Yeah.
one of the applications.
Can I make a request before we jump into it? Can you maybe, just for the audience, I obviously know all this and it might be a bit weird for you. Just
Yeah.
give a small introduction, like about like how is it that you've come to like understand this technology so well?
about
Like
myself.
Yeah, like a little bit of a
yeah.
background on you. And I'll tell you the reason why I've invited you.
Yeah.
The reason why I do this podcast with Monica, let me start with that first, is because Monica is my favorite person to have a conversation with in this world. So I was like, hey, why don't we record it? Like we have so much fun. And I think that that's what I like about you. Like I also
Yeah.
really like conversing with you. Like we've been conversing for the last more than 10 years, I feel. And it's always been great conversations.
Almost 20, probably.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
And so it's one, I really enjoy having conversations with you. And two, I think you're like one of the smartest persons I know. Like I really think you're really, really smart. And like specifically what I really like is one thing I've noticed is you really, when you understand something well, you have a really good way of explaining things. And I think you explain things simply. And I think that's a really good test to see if someone understands something well. Because in the past also, like whenever there's been some complicated stuff, I've sought your advice and you've done a really good job in explaining that to me simply. So like that's why I invited you as a special guest on this podcast. So why don't you start with a little bit about your background and
Okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm honored. This is a lot of hype. So I hope I can live up to some of this expectation at least. So yeah, we know each other since I was just thinking we met back in 2001. That's when I moved back to India. I was in the US and I joined high school in Hyderabad. So now it's been 22 years.
You're my oldest friend.
Yeah, a lot more than 10 years. Yeah, anyway, since then, so we went to high school together. And then after that, I went off to the US and I studied philosophy and I specialized in an area of philosophy called logic. Then I went on to get a master's degree in logic. And we'll talk a little bit about logic and how that's actually one of the foundations of AI. So that's how I originally got interested in this field. And then after that, originally I wanted to go deeper into that and get into academia, but I left that and joined the business world instead. And then I went to business school more recently and started taking some courses in computer science and machine learning. I was at Yale for business school about 5 years or so ago. And that kind of reignited my interest in the modern methods of AI, which is machine learning. And this was the time when GPT-2 had just come out. So I was taking a course in machine learning at Yale in specifically language models. And that was just when GPT-2 had come out, and it was.
Sorry to interrupt you. At some point, I would want to get into like what the hell is GPT-2?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, but
yeah.
go ahead.
So it was just a watershed moment in AI. It was like one of the most powerful like models that we've ever seen, and that kind of ignited my interest to go and work in this field. And I decided that hey, I want to pivot my career and work in tech and work specifically in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And then, so since graduating from business school, I've been working in the tech industry. Functionally, I'm a product manager, but in terms of like the types of products I work with, they've always been machine learning and AI-based products. I spent about 3 years at Adobe working on enterprise and consumer machine learning applications. One of the coolest things I worked on at Adobe was the Adobe Acrobat mobile application. So, reading PDFs on your mobile device is like a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like you have to pinch and zoom all
Yeah.
the time. And we built this capability called liquid mode, which uses machine learning to understand the structure of the document that you're reading, and it converts it to a
simplified mobile view.
Yes, mobile responsive HTML style document, so you can read it easily.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
It's actually really cool. I'm plugging Adobe right now, I guess, but if you have to read PDFs, it's one of the best ways to do it on your mobile. And then about a year ago, I moved to Meta, also known as Facebook, which is where I currently work. I work in the ads AI team. We are the team that builds the models that personalize ad experiences. So the models that help understand which ads are most relevant to which users. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my history with AI and machine. Oh, also, like, along the way, I got a part-time master's in computer science when I was working at Adobe, and I dug deeper into machine learning and AI in that time. And then right now, ever since ChatGPT came out, I've been really fascinated again with language models. I participated in a hackathon project at Meta where we built an application that generates short form video scripts for you. So, Meta right now is trying to get creators on Instagram Reels, and because we have heavy competition from TikTok. So one of the ways we're trying to do that is we're trying to make it easier for creators to create short form videos on Instagram. And so
What is that hackathon?
a hackathon is a common thing that happens at tech companies, also at universities, where basically you, in a very short, condensed period of time, like anywhere between 2 days and 1 week, you make a small team and just build something. You just don't think too much about what it is you're building. Don't do a lot of detailed product spec and get leadership approval and all. It's just a way for you to get your creative energy out there and build.
Anyone could be in a team. You don't have to have people from a team.
Anyone can be in a team, and companies encourage that. So you can take 2 days off of your current day-to-day job responsibilities and go it's a way for companies to generate innovation and new ideas. And so I was able to do something new. I'm a product manager in my day job, but I was doing prompt engineering for this hackathon, and I was writing code. So yeah, and also at universities, it's a way for students to get exposure to building applications and actually doing things rather than just theoretical learning. So,
it looks like I picked the right person for the job to explain to me all this. Other reason why I'm so motivated to do this is I've had a decently successful sales career, and one of the things that has been a core tenet is I also sell technology. I work for Google, I sell Google ads, and I feel like anything that you have to sell, you have to profoundly understand what that thing is. And ads, you work in the ad space now, and you would appreciate how complex this world is. And I feel like I have a decent understanding. But I just feel like with this, the more I try to understand it, more new things keep coming up and I just can't seem to keep up. So based on what you've explained, I feel like I picked the right guy for the job. And yeah, let's
okay. Yeah, I hope
dive into this.
So yeah, I made some notes here. I might refer to them every now and then. So do you want to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.